shedding light on the church's support for ending slavery. 116 New England ministers saying they disapprove and abhor the system of American slavery. It was discovered in Groton, Massachusetts. Breaking news at townhall.com. 4 people have died from gunshot wounds and 14 others have been hospitalized following a drive-by shooting in Chicago. At least 3 of those in critical condition. A Dodgers pitching ace achieves one of baseball's rare milestones.
Clayton Kershaw waited until his final pitch to join one of baseball's most exclusive clubs. The 37-year-old longtime Los Angeles Dodgers ace became the 20th pitcher in MLB history to record 3,000 career strikeouts on Wednesday against the White Sox, striking out Vinny Capra on his 100th pitch of the night to end the 6th inning. The game was paused to honor Kershaw, who embraced members of his team and tipped his hat to the crowd. Kershaw is the 4th left-hander to reach 3,000 strikeouts and only the 3rd player to do so with one franchise. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm John Scott.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
There we go. Welcome. Whole new show. Mr. Constitution, Douglas Gibbs. Good to be here. There we go. Intro music. Good to be here. Brand new program. This is, so for those of you who are not familiar, first of all, I am Douglas V. Gibbs, Mr. Constitution. This program is on the affiliate stations of Zaki Radio, and it's on Zaki Radio, and as well as America Matters Media, different stations that are affiliate stations. I noticed also the Salem Network, which I have a couple stations that carry another show I do in Salem Network down in San Diego. It's great to be here. And I guess this show now is a part of the Mr. Constitution Radio Network. So on Tuesdays, I do a podcast at mrconstitution.com, mr-constitution.com on Rumble, going through the Constitution. Now we've got Wednesdays here on Zaki Radio with Warhamster, Thursdays here, same time, 11 o'clock in the morning, West Coast time on Zaki Radio. And then on Saturdays, that's when you catch me with my other radio shows, KMET 1490 AM in the Los Angeles Riverside Market at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and then 8 p.m. in the evening on KPRZ, K-Praise, the Christian station in San Diego, and KCBQ, The Answer San Diego, with Mr. Constitution Hour by Douglas V. Gibbs. You can also catch that show on all of the podcast channels. I mean, all of them. Your favorite one, Spotify, Amazon Prime, Odyssey, wherever you want to go. Just type in the search area, Mr. Constitution Hour by Douglas V. Gibbs. And of course, you can visit me online at my website at douglasvgibbs.com. So it's fantastic to be here. It's a new experience for me being here at Zaki Radio, and we'll see how it goes. So this is the premiere episodes for those of you who are checking it out the first time. Hopefully this is something that you enjoy, you learn from. It's really about learning. I'm an educator. I've taught Constitution classes. I used to teach middle school and high school, U.S. history, government, and economics. And so Independence Day is upon us. Tomorrow is Independence Day. I'm heading out to local city in where I live in my hidden bunker somewhere on the Oregon coast. And I'm going to head eastward, go see those Medford Rogues. It's a kind of a small baseball team up there for Independence Day, and then catch the fireworks, spend the night, come back just in time to handle my Saturday programs live. So it's good to have you here. And, you know, this year's Independence Day feels a little different, doesn't it? I mean, not because the fireworks are going to be any less bright or the parade's any less patriotic for red-blooded Americans like you and me. Now, it feels different because while we are going to be out there celebrating, and while we have been all this week celebrating liberty, self-government, the greatest experiment in human freedom ever undertaken, an element on the left, the radical, unhinged, truth-denying left, has been actively sneering at it all. They've got protests planned. They're not proud to be Americans, according to polls. You heard me right. This past week, while millions of Americans are preparing to honor the sacrifices of our founders, I was watching, I think I saw it on Fox News, and there was this a guest, I watched the video again, I found it online, a guest on Joy Reid's program, which, by the way, is basically the Ministry of Truth for MSNBC's America-hating class, actually said that America is a menace to the world, that America should be sanctioned. America should be gone. Sanctioned. What are we, Iran or North Korea? I mean, it's as if the beacon of liberty that saved Europe from fascism, saved the world from communism. The wall came down in Berlin. We sent men to the moon. Now we're supposed to be punished for existing? And that's what the left's real agenda is. It's the Cloward Piven move, right? Tear it down. We have a real problem. It's bigger than Biden's bungling or Kamala's word salads. It's a spiritual sickness in the heart of the American left, a rot that despises the Constitution, despises freedom, despises liberty, despises the everything that's been fought, just abhors the founding fathers, sees America not as the last best hope of man on earth, but as a villain in some twisted ideological horror story. And then we got Marxists like, what's his name? Mamdani rising up in New York City. You heard about this guy, right? He's a straight out communist, pushing, the get rid of private housing, government owned grocery stores, pushing revisionist narratives that cast America not as the land of the free, but the oppressor of history. We got progressive protests against America. They're going to have it on Independence Day itself. Flags burned, I'm sure. Chants of no borders. They're screaming from their deranged cult, whatever they got going on. And then we got the Democrats with no vision, no backbone, no plan, except for to stop Trump as a strategy. That's what they don't want to fix America. They want to replace it, tear it down, rip up the Constitution, and build a new state in its place. Something globalist, borderless, government-run, free of that pesky thing called liberty. It's no longer a political disagreement, folks. It's about existential opposition to what America is. Let's take a break, and when I come back, I want to talk about who we are. I want to get into what the Declaration of Independence Day is all about. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back. We're going to talk about this stuff. Sacred honor, lives, fortunes, and sacred honor. Don't go anywhere.
Barbecue, the Butcher's Kitchen, would like to thank every customer for your loyalty and continued support through these challenging times. Call for takeout and delivery of rib tips, brisket, ahi, tuna, roasted veggies, and much more. Barbecue's open from 11 to 7, Monday through Saturday, and delivers hot food safe and healthy. Call 499-5855 for details. 499-5855 Barbecue, as featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives. Get real. Get into Barbecue Reno.
Have you been injured in an accident? Trust Adriana Guzman-Freilich at AGF Law, your local personal injury law firm in Reno. At AGF Law, we pride ourselves on being honest, hardworking, and ethical. Let's meet in person to understand your case and fight for your rights. Located near South Virginia and Plum, we're always ready to help. Don't navigate the aftermath of an accident alone. Call Adriana at 775-453-9595 or visit adrianalegal.com. Your recovery is our priority, and we're committed to getting you the justice you deserve.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Want to expand your advertising dollar? Sponsor this or any America Matters program by calling 775-827-8900, extension 2. Now back to the
And welcome back, Douglas V. Gibbs, Mr. Constitution Radio. The House of Representatives, as I'm speaking live, is in their vote over the big, beautiful bill. So I'll keep an eye on that as we go through the program. Welcome back to the program, Douglas V. Gibbs, Mr. Constitution, DouglasVGibbs.com. And if you want to help fund my efforts, you can do so right there at DouglasVGibbs.com. You can donate on the main page or become a $9 a month patron, a member of the movement. Just hit the join link in the link bar. All right, so what I was talking about was Independence Day. Independence Day is tomorrow. The founders didn't sign the Declaration of Independence just for fun. They pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to something bigger, a cause bigger than themselves. Liberty was not guaranteed. Victory was not assured. In fact, of the first 11 battles, major battles, the United States lost 8 of them. General Washington only won 3 of the first 11 major battles. Things were not going well. The signers of the Declaration of Independence had committed treason by signing this document. During a committee meeting, I think it was a Committee of Communication or Committee of Safety meeting, and William Williams, talk about original parental thinking there. William Williams was in a discussion and talking about how, well, the war has not been going really well. And, when he signed that document, he may be hung for it. And another person in the room, I can't remember the name of the individual, says, well, that's where I'm, going to be okay. I'm safe because I didn't sign that document. I didn't, we're going to lose, kind of the negative attitude. And William Williams turns to that man and says, you, sir, are the one who is not standing by his duty by not signing it. You, sir, should be hung for not pledging to this liberty. Liberty was not guaranteed. They knew that. They had this rare, almost extinct quality, though, that I'm a little bit older, maybe than some of you listeners, maybe a little bit younger, but you remember the word moxie? That's what these guys had. They had moxie, guts, grit, courage in the face of tyranny. And here's my question. Today, as Americans, do we have that? Because if we don't, if we let the left keep chipping away at America's foundation, mocking her ideals, rewriting her history, demonizing her values, then the fireworks and the parades are nothing more than distractions from our slow motion surrender. Now, I don't believe that, not for a second. I believe there are millions of Americans, tens of millions of Americans, a couple 100 million Americans. Maybe you're one of them who still carries the spirit of 76 in their bones, who know that the Constitution is not the problem, it's the solution, who refuse to bow before the altar of woke dogma and apologize for loving their country. No, we're not perfect. The country's not perfect. I remember, Winston Churchill, when talking about America, says, well, America's the worst system ever created except for all others. In other words, there are flaws. We're not perfect. No people are perfect. There are some flaws. There has been flaws. We've, addressed them the best we can as a country. But overall, we have been the most prosperous, most free country ever in history. And America is still the greatest force for good the world has ever known. And that's not just worth defending. That's worth celebrating loudly, proudly, unapologetically. Light the fireworks, fly the flag, teach your children the truth of American history, not this garbage that they seem to be teaching through the public school. I have a book that I wrote, a 750-page book about the history from the Saxons to the election of Thomas Jefferson. A promise of truth self-evident. A history of the United States, early America. I'm going to do part 2, part 3, part 4. I'm going to get each century. I'm going to hit the 19th century and the 20th century and the 21st century, the new millennium. Check out the book. You'll get true history. Let's not let those who despise our country keep shouting from their MSNBC and CNN and ABC and NBC and CBS or whatever green rooms and academic cubicles as they sip their overpriced lattes. Because when the dust settles and the battle for America's soul is decided, it won't be their cynicism that endures. It'll be your courage. It'll be us who stand firm for this country. That's what we should be watching for. And, you know, I'm watching this big, beautiful bill be debated. And it's interesting watching this. And, you know, while all of this was going on, while they're battling this, and once again, the vote's going on right now, to me, it looks like it's going to happen. There's only one nay on the Republican side. I think 3 is the most that they can go with. But, you know, and it's funny because the hysteria this morning on Capitol Hill has been deafening. The left, and yes, a few spineless Republicans, have been wringing their hands over what they call a deficit exploding piece of legislation. They're talking about the big, beautiful bill, the transformative package trying to work its way through the House right now. It's being voted on right now. And let me tell you, those who are critical of it, they're dead wrong. They're clinging to a tired, debunked narrative. The tax cuts they're claiming that the tax cuts are a loss of revenue. That's like saying a store loses money by putting its best products on sale. It's economic ignorance dressed up in congressional budget office spreadsheets. These people wouldn't know real world economics if it hit them like a freight train of prosperity. The deficit myth, here's the truth. Tax cuts don't cost the government money. They unleash the American economy. When you let people and businesses keep more of what they earn, they don't bury it in the backyard. They invest, they hire, they innovate, they spend. That's how you grow an economy. That's how you increase revenue, not by squeezing the productive class, but by setting them free. Ronald Reagan proved it. John F. Kennedy, Democrat, understood this. He cut taxes, and what happened? Revenue went up. Now, granted, he wanted to do that. He understood that's what happens. He wanted to do it, though, because he wanted to pump that money into New Deal type stuff, so I don't like where it went. But he understood that cutting taxes doesn't reduce revenue. Ultimately, it increases it. You know, Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump, during his first term, he lived it. The CBO was wrong then, and it's wrong now. After Trump's tax cuts, revenue didn't collapse, it rose. The economy surged. Unemployment hit record lows. Wages climbed. Minority communities saw historic gains. That's not theory. That's history. Regulatory relief plus energy dominance, that's what brings on an economic boom. And Donald J. Trump, President Trump, understands this. But this bill isn't just about tax cuts. It's about cutting the red tape that strangles our entrepreneurs. It's about unleashing American energy, oil, gas, nuclear. I mean, if you're a tree-hugging, renewable energy type kook, then why aren't you embracing nuclear? It's more efficient. The wind stops blowing sometimes. The sun stops shining about the time everybody comes home and starts using their electricity. Oil, gas, nuclear power. How did we win World War II? Oil. When you lower the cost of doing business, and that's what's happening with Unleashing American Energy, domestic energy, these domestic oil drilling, gas refining, nuclear, because that lowers the cost of doing business. And when you don't just help Wall Street, you help Main Street. When the cost of doing business goes down, it brings down inflation because, understand, business owners don't pay taxes. They don't pay higher costs of doing business. They pass it on to you, the consumer. So when you bring down the cost of doing business, you're not helping the big business, corporate, whatever, like the leftist knuckleheads say. You're helping the trucker, the farmer, the small business owner who's trying to make payroll. And yes, it includes targeted spending cuts, this big, beautiful bill. Not the kind that hurt working families, like they're saying, but the kind that drains the swamp, drains the bloated bureaucracies, wasteful programs, the endless gravy train of government dependency. I believe this bill, along with what's already been going on, Donald Trump called it. We're on our way to the golden age. This bill is the blueprint for what President Trump calls America's golden age. It's not just policy, it's a philosophy. It says, we believe in the American worker, the American dream, and the American future. The declaration that prosperity is not a zero-sum game. When we grow the pie, everyone gets a bigger slice. So don't buy the deficit doom-mongering. Don't let the fear peddlers win. This isn't just a good bill, it's a beautiful bill. And if Congress has the courage to pass it, and I'm looking at this, it looks like it's right teetering. There's like 2 votes left for the Republicans, and there's 2 nays. Just one of them goes yay. Hopefully both of them, we've got it. But if Congress has the courage to pass it, we'll look back at this moment as a spark that reignited the American miracle. Let's understand what this is all about. Let's understand what we're witnessing. We're witnessing a miracle unfold before our very eyes. The big, beautiful bill is like a rocket fueling up on the launch pad. It hasn't even left the ground yet. We're already seeing the benefits of President Trump's bold policies, and it's like watching a golden age take shape right before our eyes. Inflation is plummeting down to a 4-year low. It's like someone finally turned off the money printer and let the economy breathe. And the job market, it's hotter than a summer day in Texas. Labor demand is soaring with 7.7 million job openings. That's right, folks. Businesses are clamoring for workers, and that means higher wages and better opportunities for the American worker. Wages are skyrocketing, the biggest jump in 60 years. It's like a payday boom, and it's not just the fat cats at the top. It is the blue-collar workers, the truckers, the farmers, the folks who make this country run. Airfare, gasoline, eggs, prices are falling, and that means more money in your pocket. Child poverty is down. Household wealth is up. We've got $14 trillion in new investment commitments thanks to Trump's fantastic negotiations. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue. And maybe we'll have the end of the vote. We'll see. Don't go anywhere.
This is Peter from Nevada Real Estate Radio. I talk about the subjects that help you as a home buyer, seller, or investor. Some people might just focus on the negative things, so guess where they're going? We do it differently. We focus on the positive aspects of today's real estate opportunities. You might have to navigate through some murky waters, but we're here to help you achieve success. The Nevada Real Estate Radio, Thursdays, 3 p.m. on 93.7 FM. Nevada Real Estate Radio.
At A Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, we've been accomplishing happy feet for over 30 years.
We offer a various range of shoe styles and sizes for both men and women. From all-season shoes and orthotics to work boots and safety shoes, our professional and reliable staff possesses the knowledge to help you find the proper shoes to fit your needs. Hard to fit? Hard to find?
A Proper Fit Footwear is here to give our customers happy feet. We make people aware of potential foot problems as we're sizing their feet. suggesting the right arch support and guiding them to the proper shoes for their needs.
Stop by a Proper Fit Footwear at 4001 South Virginia Street in the Reno Town Mall today and allow the owner Mike Jones and our fabulous staff to find the perfect pair of shoes tailored to your specific needs.
A Proper Fit Footwear in the Reno Town Mall, the home of Happy Feet, where comfort and your feet meet.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Unable to listen to the whole show? A recording of today's program will be available later today. Visit americamatters.us and click on the podcast link. Now back to the show.
And welcome back, Mr. Constitution, Douglas V. Gibbs. Glad to have you here. Zachy Radio and KPGF, I guess, is the station, 93.7 FM, 1060 AM up in the Reno area. And then, of course, all over the internet, live and later. And I'll make sure there's links at douglasvgibbs.com. And don't forget, also, this show is now a part of the Mr. Constitution Radio Network, which I'm also on KMET down in Riverside, LA, Riverside, KMET 1490 AM. And then we've got The Answer San Diego, KCBQ, and KPRZ, KPraise, KPRZ.com, KCBQ.com. Just look for Mr. Constitution Hour by Douglas V. Gibbs. All of the podcasts, all of them. There's like 12 of them, I think, that I'm on. So if I'm not on your favorite podcast platform, let me know. We'll get on there too. We're on pretty much all of them. Just type in the search bar, Mr. Constitution Hour by Douglas V. Gibbs. And that show airs live on the San Diego stations. On the San Diego stations at 8 p.m. Saturday nights on the West Coast. And I am hidden somewhere in my hidden bunker on the Oregon coast, enjoying the weather, deer walking by. You see through the windows of my bunker. And it's great to be here. I'm glad to be here on Zachy Radio, America Matters Media. Zachy Radio. This is the premiere episode on Zachy Radio. Excited to be a part of this network. Hopefully we continue to be here for a very long time. Maybe expand. Maybe we're going to grow from here. We'll see. The growth for what I do has been incredible. My latest book, if you want to check it out, right now my store is not quite where I want it to be. So right now you'll just have to go to Amazon. God in the Constitution is the latest book. God in the Constitution. I have like 13 books out there. Almost all of them are about the Constitution or related topics or U.S. history. So check out my books. Now, let's get back to what we were talking about. What I was talking about is the Golden Age has already begun. Now, it looks like, according to what I'm seeing, the bill has passed. The big, beautiful bill has passed. 218 votes for, I think it was 214 against. And so the bill has passed. It's going to go to Trump's desk. He's going to sign it. And that means record tax cuts. No taxes for tips. No taxes for overtime. We're talking wasteful spending being eliminated. And already we were seeing, America growing, the golden age beginning even before this vote. And it's all because of Trump's vision. President Trump's vision. Let's not forget the $80 billion in tariffs collected from foreign companies. And I've been supporting the idea of tariffs since before they were even talking about it. Thomas Jefferson and James Madison utilized tariffs. At one point, 95% of federal revenue was from tariffs. We didn't have income tax. That didn't happen until the 16th Amendment in 1913. Tariffs and income tax paid by the states was the way they did it back then. And, now we've got the $80 billion of tariffs collected from foreign companies. Well, there's going to be deficit. No, there's not. You cut taxes, you increase revenue. Plus, We've got all these investments coming into the country through tariffs and through investment commitments. I mean, we've got money coming back into our economy right now, already, before this. The military is stronger than ever. I'm a veteran. I served in the United States Navy. I was raised by a Marine. So I guess you could say I served twice. Recruitment is through the roof right now. Why? Because everybody wants this person to be, President Trump, to be their commander-in-chief. My commander-in-chief when I was in was Ronald Reagan. I was happy with that. We've had 0 crossings across the borders in May and June. It's the lowest it's been in American history. That's not just a win for security. It's a win for the American worker, too. We're also seeing 160,000 illegal aliens deported, 75% of them being convicted criminals. Oh my gosh, they scream. There's, some people aren't criminals that got mixed into that. Hey, if you cross the border illegally, first of all, you already broke the law. If you're hanging out with convicted criminals and you came into the country illegally, you're going to get captured. And you're going to go with them. And if you're hanging out with the criminal aliens, I don't care if your record's clean. You don't need to be here. Yeah, but Doug, they've been following the rules since they've been here. If someone broke into your house, would you be like, yeah, but they're following the rules of the house, and they help with the dishes, and they mow the lawn. No, they broke into your house. You're not going to let them stay in your house. And when you're not home, what do? You lock your door. And even when you're home and someone knocks on the door, you don't just throw it open. Who is it, you say? Look through that little peephole. You talk to them on the porch. We have vetting of people coming into our house. We secure the border, the door. And if someone was to break into our house, we throw them out and throw them in jail. Why should our country be any different? Why is the border any different than your front door? Law and order, my friends. And that's what President Trump understands this. Law and order, it's working. And I remember when Biden was president and Kamala was talking about immigration. She was the immigration czar, remember? And they're like, oh, we're doing everything we can. And this is a tough problem. We're going to have to sit down and figure it out. No, you don't. Seal the border, follow the laws, deport, and make them nervous about coming into the country. Self-deportation is up. It's working. Wasteful spending is being cut by this bill, too. Out of our federal budget. It already was. I mean, USAID is finally meeting its maker. It's like pruning a tree to make it stronger. When you prune the tree, it becomes fuller, it grows taller. You get rid of what's holding it down, what's holding it back. And that's what we're doing with our economy. China's economy is collapsing. The woke agenda is crumbling and on the run. Patriotism is back. America is back. America is great again. It's like a breath of fresh air. I can just feel it in my lungs. Here's the kicker. Even before this vote that just happened, big beautiful bill has passed. It's going to go to Trump's desk July 4th. But we're already seeing incredible results even beforehand. And once this bill goes into play, it's going to be like pouring rocket fuel on an already blazing engine. It's going to stop the largest tax increase in history, which the Democrats are desperately trying to push through if they get their way. If they got their way, if the taxes went up, the largest tax increase in history, we'd be looking at a recession. That's something we can't afford. They say, oh, no, these tax cuts will cause a recession. No, it's not. That's what you said about the tariffs. Guess what? Everything's going great. Now, the bill's not perfect. I'm not totally jazzed with kind of what the Senate did. But, politics is the art of the possible. The big, beautiful bill is a wonderful thing, though. The tax cuts at the heart of it, they're going to launch us into an economic boom like we've never seen. You think that the 80s, after Reagan finally got his way, was awesome? That was nothing. And we're not just talking about numbers on a spreadsheet. We're talking about people, their dreams, their futures. It's about believing in America and letting her shine. And let's not let the fearmongers and doomsayers win here. This is our moment, folks. This is the spark that's going to reignite the American miracle. This big, beautiful bill, I'm so excited that it, it's not perfect. I get it. And there's a few of you out there like, oh, well, this is in it. That's it. All right. It's not perfect. Once again, politics is the game of the possible. It's the art of the possible. We're not just looking at a brighter future, though, with this bill. We're building it. Other bills will come to take care of the things you're nervous about or wasn't in there. The only problem I had with this bill is that it had all this stuff combined into one bill. As a constitutionalist, I would prefer that each thing could independently, as its own bill, go through Congress and be approved individually. Without earmarks, I know they say they don't do earmarks anymore. That's not true. They do. They find a way. But without the game, I mean, there's more trading. There's more trading on the floor of Congress than there is at Wall Street. But it looks like we're moving in the right direction. I think we are. And we've got, Trump's economic intervention going on is really what it is. I mean, the economy, we're being told, is in shambles. I had someone at the store not too long ago, egg prices are still high. No, they're not. Do you not believe your eyes? Well, gas prices, no, they're not. In May, I traveled the whole country. I'm a public speaker also, and I took a tour, and 32 days I was on the road. Get down in California. Even California was lower than it usually is, not by a lot. But I mean, much of the South, until I got to Alabama, I didn't pay more than $2.99 a gallon. That was last month. Thomas Sowell said that if the average citizen understood the basic of economics that was understood 200 years ago, most of the nonsense that's going on in Washington would not be possible today. President Trump understands basic economics. The founding fathers, their view of economics was based on the concept of laissez-faire. Let things follow their own course. Get the government out of it, deregulate, which is also what this bill does. It removes a lot of regulations, a lot of taxes. Government's role must be minimal. They were against direct taxation, as shown in the capitation clause in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. They recognize the importance of fair trade, not free trade, but fair trade, and the use of tariffs. A free market economy that allowed companies to operate with as little government regulation and control as possible. A direct response to the mercantilistic policies used against them by Britain prior to the Revolutionary War, and then ramped up by the British Empire once America won its independence. President Trump's policies have the American people once again doing what they do best, building, producing, and thriving, and that now is going to kick in a high gear thanks to this bill, I think. Thanks to the return of common sense, America First economic policies from none other than President Donald J. Trump. And while the mainstream media and the horde of leftist economists are stumbling over their narratives, the facts are shouting something entirely different. Trump's economic plan is working, and it's getting ready to kick in a high gear. When supply increases, prices drop. That's basic economics. When you raise the cost of doing business, whether through taxation, regulation, or endless compliance, those costs are passed on to the consumer. That's what those higher taxes would have done. The rich ain't paying taxes. Let's take a break. We'll continue this. I want you to learn a little economics, and let's get some Constitution in. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Eddie Floyd. Let me tell you about my favorite nonprofit public charity, Wainema Wild Horse Sanctuary, located on the Forsyth Ranch in Hallelujah Junction area. And please go to www.wainemaranch.com. That's WYNEMA ranch.com.
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, You must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811, brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Barbecue the Butcher's Kitchen would like to thank every customer for your loyalty and continued support through these challenging times. Call for takeout and delivery of rib tips, brisket, ahi, tuna, roasted veggies, and much more. Barbecue's open from 11 to 7, Monday through Saturday, and delivers hot food safe and healthy. Call 499-5855 for details. 499-5855 Barbecue, as featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives. Get real. Get into Barbecue Reno.
Are you shy and don't want to talk on the air? Text us your questions or comments to 775-237-2266. Now back to the show.
And welcome back, Mr. Constitution, Douglas V. Gibbs. And this is the premiere episode here on Zachy Radio. This is the first of hopefully many. And for those of you who are not familiar with my style, who I am, what I'm about, I'm all about the United States Constitution, originalist. I'm an originalist. I believe in the original intent intended by the founding fathers. I don't play these games about the judge. You know, it's funny because as a constitutional expert, people say, oh, so you're a lawyer. So no, I'm not a lawyer. That's why I understand the Constitution. They get ruined. And I've had lawyers take my Constitution classes and tell me they learned more about the Constitution from me and the historical context that goes with it than they did in law school. DouglasVGibbs.com. I go through the Constitution line by line on Tuesdays, 3:30 Pacific, on my friend's channel, it's Untold History channel on Rumble. But the way to go straight there when I'm live at 3:30 p.m. on Tuesdays is MrConstitution.com and put a hyphen between the MR and the Constitution. So it's MR-Constitution.com, MrConstitution.com with a hyphen between the two parts of that. And then, of course, I am on KMET 1490 AM on Saturdays, 1 p.m. Pacific, KCBQ and KPRZ, KCBQ.com, KPRZ.com, The Answer San Diego, and K-Praise on Saturday nights at 8 live. And then that show, Mr. Constitution Hour by Douglas V. Gibbs, is available on all the podcast platforms. And then I'm also typically on Sunday nights with a friend of mine for a show called For the Republic. For the Republic at the Patriots Soapbox Network, Sunday nights 5 to 7 Pacific. So yeah, I do a lot of stuff, but I'm excited about being here on Zachy Radio. I'm reaching an audience that's not familiar with me, and I hope you are not just enjoying this. I am here to kind of entertain, but also I'm here to inform. And I am an educator. I want you to be informed. I want you to know what's going on. I want you to understand why this vote was important. What constitutionally, all the details, things like that. That's what we need to be working on. That's what we need to know. And you know, it's funny because when it comes to economics, you know, and I was kind of going through it, you know, I told you, producers, they don't pay taxes. Consumers do. Corporate taxes, it's tax the rich, it's tax those corporations, you hear from the left. Those are hidden sales taxes. Inflation is not some mystical ghost that nobody knows where it comes from. It's a direct result of too much fiat money chasing too few goods and a higher cost of producing goods. Tax cuts actually increase revenue. That's a fact that's historically supported, mathematically sound. Why? Because paying less taxes provides more money for growth and innovation. When growth and innovation takes off, prosperity follows. And as everyone is doing better, making more money, they pay more in taxes, even though the rate is lower. And now we've got President Trump in his second term, 47, and his economic assault on the left's search for a non-existent socialist utopia. Here we are. Reality is refusing to cooperate with the left's narrative. And while the Biden administration flooded the economy with worthless cash, shredded our energy independence, Trump is rebuilding the economic engine the only way he knows how, with deals, leverage, and tariffs, and the big, beautiful bill. And we've got the economic union, the European Union, should I say, who's given in with the tariffs. United Kingdom is given in. The trade deficit is collapsing in real time. Exports are up, imports are down. We're beginning to so, well, Doug, we import this. If we have high tariffs, then let's make it. That's what we do. Let's make the product. Let's produce it then. The leftist media is doing what it can to lie about what's really happening, to make you afraid. The ones I've talked to claim layoffs are happening. Jobless claims have ticked up slightly. That's just not true. Layoffs are dropping. The economy has been rebounding hard during this first 6 months of Trump's. The 6 months isn't even over yet. Private hiring's up. Wasn't at first, but it's finally catching up. President Trump understands something that the Democrats never will. Prosperity is not fueled by government spending. It's powered by people producing. You've heard the term, right? Supply economics. Supply side economics. Remember Biden's bird apocalypse, for example? Because let's do a lesson real quick on supply and demand here. The bird apocalypse, 150 million chickens culled in the name of science. Insane, completely insane. It sent egg prices skyrocketing. President Trump's team scoured the globe, got the supply chains flowing again, brought in chickens, brought in eggs from Turkey. Prices are falling downwards around $4 or more per dozen of eggs since Trump took office. Now I think it's down like $6 a dozen. Meanwhile, thanks to President Trump's immigration policies, the economy is improving as well. With illegal immigration down, wages are going up. Because, see, when you're paying under the table lower wages for illegal aliens, it actually hurts Americans' wages, cause and effect. The media won't admit the truth. When you execute the law and you crack down on illegal immigration, illegal aliens start self-deporting. Guess what happens? American wages rise. Supply and demand works in labor as well. And let's not forget about the train wreck that California has thrust upon taxpayers with its bullet train to nowhere. And that's federal money going into that too, folks. That you're paying for that too. And it's a project so bloated, so broken, that even the feds are threatening to yank $4 billion of funding. I think they have already. Remember that these are the same geniuses who told you that the Trump's tariffs would destroy trade. His tax cuts would bankrupt the country. That his deregulation would bring the apocalypse. Instead, his policies are boosting incomes, cutting inflation, proving that free market economics and supply-side economics wins every single time. Donald Trump is not just reversing Biden's economic sabotage. He's igniting a new era of prosperity built on timeless truths. Lower taxes equal higher growth. Less regulation means more innovation. Strong trade policies protect American jobs and manufacturing. When you put America first, Americans rise. The tide goes up, all boats rise with it. The only thing collapsing under Trump's leadership is the left's narrative, including and especially their economic narrative. Are you better off now than you were under Biden? Of course you are. It is, after all, the dawn of the golden age of America, is it not? And they were going after him through the judges. But then the Supreme Court said, no more universal injunctions. Enough. And so now we've got, and understand this universal injunction thing where these lower courts are saying, you can't do that, Trump, and it affects the whole. Federal judges just made up these universal injunctions out of thin air because they don't like President Donald J. Trump and they're intent on doing everything they can to block his agenda. They couldn't stop him during the election. He's made them look like fools every time they clash with him. So they've retreated to the stronghold of the court so that they could try to shackle him with the all-powerful courtroom. That's not justice. That's sabotage. And the Supreme Court says, you can't do that. The founders never intended for judges to be able to veto the executive branch anyway. It's not in the Constitution. They cannot micromanage it. Well, who's going to check the president? Congress. Who's going to check Congress? We are. We're the ones that voted him in. The judicial branch is not there to interpret the law. They're not there to check the other branches. They're there to apply the law, whether they like the law or not, to the cases they hear. James Madison in Federalist Paper number 78 explained that the judicial branch was supposed to be the weakest of the three. They don't have the power of the sword like the executive or the purse like the legislature. Their job has always been to simply apply the law, not interpret, not imply, not review law and executive actions with what they claim to be legally binding opinions, which are not to invent power, not to wield authority. They were never granted by the U.S. Constitution. And they've always tried to make themselves supreme over the three branches of government. The final arbiters of the law, the gods in black robes. And, over the last decade or so, largely due to political ideological hate against Donald Trump, the inferior federal courts have tried to make themselves supreme even over the United States Supreme Court. And that right now they're still ruling in a manner that goes against what the Supreme Court has said. And they're doing it all under their false version of tyrannical definition of checks and balances. Checks and balances are a good thing, but that's not the way that were intended. So the leftists of the Democratic Party now have been gunning for President Trump ever since he first was elected, when he first came down that escalator and said he wanted to build a big, beautiful wall. Now, with this ruling, the Supreme Court is reining in the judicial branch. They're restoring constitutional order, or at least partially. For the time being, no more power-hungry judges will be acting like emperors in judicial black robes. During the Constitutional Convention, there were even delegates who argued that establishing a federal judiciary might not be in their best interest. When offered to return to the position of Chief Justice of the United States in 1801, John Jay, our first Chief Justice, but then he won election and served as governor of New York, and then John Adams says, hey, we want you back. He rejected the offer because in its present form, it was too weak of a position. He was seeking power that the Constitution never provided. Now, Americans don't have to live under the threat that the whim of one judge 1,000 miles away might tyrannically influence their lives, because the Supreme Court said, nah, these universal injunctions, no go. Local judges may only influence locally and not dictate how the executive executes and the legislature legislates. Supreme Court sent a message to all those judicial activists out there sipping their soy lattes in their chambers, thinking that they rule the world. Your reign is over. You're not gods in black robes. The voice of the consent of the governed is back in charge. The Constitution is back in the driver's seat. And John Marshall was kind of the Chief Justice. John Marshall, he was the one who wound up taking the seat after John Jay didn't take it. And he's kind of the one behind judicial review. He wrote it as an opinion in Marbury versus Madison, 1803. That doesn't make it exist. The judges can't give themselves a power. It has to be given by the Constitution. And I'm sure somewhere in the fiery depths of that special place in hell where left-wing judges descend to, Chief Justice John Marshall, the midnight judges John Marshall, is frowning from ear to ear, screaming, what about judicial review? The activist left hold him up as one of the most significant figures in American legal history. They worship everything he unconstitutionally pushed on us. It is his version of judicial power they are chasing and trying to use to control the fate of this country. Marshall may have laid out the groundwork that led to the judiciary believing it was supreme over the other two branches of government, but in the end, it is still all unconstitutional. Thank God the current United States Supreme Court agrees that the founders never intended for judges in San Francisco or Seattle to override a president or Congress just because they don't like a policy. United we stand, combined we can. But God bless America, my friends. God bless you. Thanks for listening. DouglasVGibbs.com. We'll see you next time.
For one nation